Right now it is time for Arthur Schwartz, the food maven. Arthur joins us on a Monday morning. And what do we talk about? We talk about food. Good morning there, Arthur.
Well, it's January, so we have to talk about not food.
That's right.
or food. But dieting. I watch too much television, as I've said before. And as soon as January 1st came, all the commercials were either try out this diet or a switch from the usual years. Here's a home exercise plan. You can do it along with your TV, blah, blah, blah. So exercise and dieting are the subjects of the day, the first Monday in the new year. And as to paraphrase Mark Twain, what he said about quitting smoking, dieting is easy. I've done it 1,000 times. So I have lost and gained more weight. I don't want to think about it, but I have been thinking about it and all the different diets I have been on in my life. And always at the end, when I've finally reached a goal, I say, I'll never do that again. I'm going to really keep it off this time. But that doesn't happen so easy. I'm curious. I'm not going to subscribe to find out, but I'm curious about this Noom diet. Have you seen the commercials for Noom?
I've seen the commercials, but I've also seen reports from people that think it's a big scam.
Oh, it's a behavior modification plan. I'm not sure if they tell you what to eat as well, but I love the commercial with the guy who says he was trying out for the Olympics, and when he didn't make it, he just ate everything and drank everything in sight, and then he needed Noom, of course, to lose it. So it's a behavior modification plan, and let me say, the behavior, for me anyway, I can only speak for myself on diets because, besides that I've been on a million different ones and have been writing about dieting for 50 years, so I think I know a little something about dieting, as do you, because you've been on diets. Any person, can I say any fat person,
Yeah, sure.
knows a lot about dieting. So skinny people do not know about dieting, and they make them, and a lot of them, unfortunately, put some kind of moral superiority on the fact that they're slim and you're not. So back to, I don't even know. I'm all over the place, aren't I? Behavior modification. So for me, changing the behavior eventually modifies my behavior, meaning I have to force myself to do something. And then after a while, it doesn't seem so bad, which is where I am right now with this keto diet, which I've been on since Labor Day. It's 4 months. And I've lost about 26 pounds. I say about because I did not dare weigh myself at the very, very beginning. I was scared. And when I did, I can calculate that it's 26 pounds since that point, sometime in early September.
Well,
in any case, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's interesting because we were talking before we got on the air. I started my pandemic diet, which was I started in February, and it's averaged out where I've now up to about 68, 69 pounds I've lost, which is about 6 pounds a month, which is
right. So about me, that's what I'm doing too, about 6 pounds a month. I lately dropped more than the usual, and I'll tell you why. The keto diet unquestionably diminishes your appetite. This is a good thing and not a good thing because I take a lot of pleasure in eating, but these days I don't eat so much, and I'm not craving. Well, I'm craving stuff that I shouldn't be eating, like a pastrami sandwich. It's the rye bread that I'm not supposed to be eating. By the way, I researched this, preparing myself. The average slice of rye bread only has 15 grams of carbohydrate. So if I had 30 grams in a sandwich, I could manage that in a day. I recently discovered that I can eat an egg roll without ruining my diet. But, of course, after the egg roll, I had very little appetite, and I didn't want to eat too much after that. So once your appetite diminishes, your calorie count automatically goes down. I'm going to say, in any diet, if you eliminate any food group, whether it be carbohydrates or fats, those are the usual eliminators, whatever you eliminate, as my endocrinologist said, you eliminate a food group, you're going to lose weight. So I've eliminated carbohydrates, even to the point of I don't eat vegetables that grow below ground, except for an onion here or there that I need to cook with. And I've learned how to eat this way, and it's not so bad. I get protein, I get a lot of fat, and and I eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of above-ground vegetables, of which there are many, especially in the winter. Yeah, a lot of leafy greens and things, which are really healthy. And the byproduct, besides the weight loss, you don't have this problem, Marshall, but I'm diabetic, and you see these commercials for the diabetes medications, the type 2 diabetes medications, and they talk about the A1C. Well, that's a 3-month average of your blood sugar, and normal, I believe, is around 5. And if you go over 7, you're in trouble. So all these medications advertise that they'll bring you down under 7. So I've been under 7 for quite a while, but not on one of those medications. But now that I'm eating this way, even after only 2 months of eating this way, not 3, so this was the 3-month average. So 1 month there was wacko. My A1C was 5.5, so that's nearly normal. And I'm curious what it's going to be next time after I've been on this for such a long time. And actually, I'm now on one of these drugs because it does help weight loss. And also my appetite might be reduced from that, too. But, no, I have a severely reduced appetite, so I'm not consuming that many calories. So, I'm all for sensible diets. I've always been for sensible diets. Early in my career, we're talking about the earliest 70s, I was a reporter at Newsday, and one of the big deal things happening on Long Island was the founding of Weight Watchers, and by a woman named Jean Nidetch, who became the spokesperson when it became a big company, and some friends. And her story, their story, is that they were suburban New York housewives. I believe they were all in Great Neck, maybe Manhasset too. And they went to the New York City Health Department diet clinic run by a very, very famous doctor named Norman Jolliffe. And Norman Jolliffe believed in all food groups and in if you expend more energy than you consume, you'll lose weight, which is, I have to say, after 50 years of reporting on this, nothing has changed in that department. If anybody tells you you can lose weight without any change in that proportion of exercise and calories, then they're not telling you the truth. So even my endocrinologist just 6 or 8 weeks ago told me the same thing. I complained that I wasn't losing fast enough, and she said, well, you need to exercise more or eat less. So now I'm eating less because I have no appetite. Then I was eating less because I had to, I wasn't eating less. I was on this diet that allowed you to eat some very fattening things that were very satisfying. But the Norman Jolliffe diet became the Weight Watcher, the original Weight Watcher diet. And one of the things that this diet had very firm rules. Jolliffe understood that unless you gave people a prescription for exactly what to do and eat, they probably couldn't figure it out themselves. I believe this still holds true. However, Weight Watchers has evolved into a program that gives you lots of choices and does give you lots of personal responsibility. I think that's important. I don't know if this cognitive behavior system they advertise on TV, I don't know if they do the same thing, but part of the cognitive behavior stuff is incorporated into Weight Watchers because you go to meetings and you get a support group. Now, in the old days, I don't know if they still do this, you had to weigh in at the beginning of every session, every group session. And it was a consciousness-raising group, and part of the consciousness was how much do you weigh? and I really, how much do you weigh? From week to week, of course, the advice in general about weighing yourself is you shouldn't do it more than once a week. I don't follow that advice. I like to track it. But I've had to learn that sometimes your body doesn't want to give up the weight, that your body actually likes the status quo, and if it doesn't, you get sick. But if you're relatively healthy and overweight, your body needs to be trained, and you have to do it. And it takes some discipline in the beginning, but then after a while, maybe not. So the Norman Jolliffe diet was, for instance, you had to eat breakfast. And I have to say that I still believe in you have to eat breakfast, even on the keto diet. Finding something I like to eat for breakfast other than eggs, which I often eat for dinner, for instance, as I did last night, I have to say is a problem. Fortunately, I'm of Eastern European Jewish descent, so I like herring, even for breakfast. And I like...
Do you like just regular herring?
I like fish for breakfast. I like smoked salmon for breakfast.
You know, it's funny. I like herring only one way, and that's when I used to go to funerals, creamed herring.
Oh, well, that's easy. I buy the herring in wines. You know, a creamed herring, I'm very particular. And I used to get wonderful creamed herring at Fairway, but the Brooklyn Fairway is now called something else, and I haven't been there since the beginning of COVID. I'm not risking my life for creamed herring.
No.
So I can get I can get excellent herring, pickled herring, not in cream sauce, around the corner in my fancy food shop, and I put either yogurt or sour cream on myself. If you want to make it more saucy, you just take some of the juices from the herring and pour them into, as I said, either Greek yogurt works great, or sour cream. If you're on the keto diet, you're allowed all that fat from sour cream. On the other hand, I do like the taste of the Greek yogurt. So those are good breakfasts. You have to eat breakfast one way or another. Before I went on this, I was eating fresh goat cheese, meaning the log type goat cheese, which is very high moisture cheese, low calorie cheese, and I could have 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces even of that, with some high fiber crackers, wasa or other kind of flatbread, or whatever you like. Actually, sometimes I even went to wheat thins. Wheat thins are a better cracker than you think they are. So you need to eat breakfast, and then you needed to eat everything on the diet. These were the rules of the Norman Jolliffe diet, and they were different for men and for women, because of course women, for the most part, don't need as many calories as men do. So I think the male version of the Norman Jolliffe diet was like 1,600, and the women's was more like 1,200, and we didn't know about we did know about, but Norman wasn't about to tell his patients, I call them patients, about eat whole grain bread. But women got a slice of bread in the morning, and men got 2 slices of bread. Not bad. Or you could have it at lunch and at dinner. That's 4 slices of bread a day. It was quite a lot. And you got 2 pieces of fruit a day. They wanted you to eat more meat than fish. And it was very low on white carbohydrates. I think it probably eliminated sugar. I'm not looking at the actual diet right now. And it was called what was it called? Well, anyway, Norman Jolliffe, and it became Weight Watchers. And then Weight Watchers decided, I think appropriately, in my humble opinion, to give you choices, so that you didn't have to eat this, you didn't have to eat this, you got a choice. And then they went to points, and that gave you even more choice, because they had a system of points. You could, and vegetables, I believe, almost all vegetables was 0 points. So you could eat as many fruits, not fruit, but vegetables as you want. Now, this diet, this sensible Norman Jolliffe diet, which became Weight Watchers, is also pretty much the same diet that Bob and I were on for I would say a couple of years. And we had no trouble sticking to this, except that it was so flexible that there were days where we ate the right foods, but in larger amounts than we should have. So it really wasn't a diet; it was a way of eating. And I call it the pasta lover's diet. And I developed this with a slight American Arthur Schwartz twist as the pasta lover's diet, from a diet that two of my assistants in cooking school in Italy went on, and in the months, 6 or 7 months between classes, between our week-long classes, Annette and her sister, Erminia, lost 70 pounds. And now when I left them, they were pudgy 20-year-olds, more or less. When I came back, they were svelte, very attractive young women, and very attractive. And I said, how'd you do this? Well, they went to a nutritionist who gave them a diet, and they stuck to it. It was easy to stick to because it was the food ways that they were accustomed to. These are young women from the south of Italy, and nobody in the south of Italy is going to deprive themselves of pasta. I don't know how many keto dieters well, I do know somebody who's eats more or less keto. He doesn't identify it that way, but he's a Southern Italian who's eliminated pasta from his diet most of the time. But it's rare that somebody's willing to do that down there. In any case, you get a little bit of, it's not even, for an Italian, it's not a little bit. It's 3 ounces of pasta almost every day. And on the one day that you don't get pasta, you get rice. And as I say, I wrote up this diet. As I say in the written-up version, I used to save the rice for my sushi day. Because fish, sushi, and rice, what could be better for a diet, truly? And you don't get all that much rice when you order sushi. If you order sashimi, you can actually figure out how much rice you're eating because it's a bowl of rice topped with fish. So, and a portion of rice on this diet is not very big, 3/4 of a cup. But you can get a sushi deluxe, and it's not more than 3/4 of a cup of rice. So what else is on this diet? So we stayed on this diet because I got to eat pasta every day. Oh, by the way, it's 3 ounces of pasta if you're just having your pasta with vegetables or some sauce, and I can get into that in a minute. Actually, if you would like, anybody listening would like this diet, I have it all written up, and I just read it again because my cousin asked me for a copy, and I'll be happy to email it to you if you write to me at mavensmail.com. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Mavensmail at AOL.com.
Yeah.
Mavensmail at AOL. It's all written up. So, including my commentary here. And I even have another document with some recipes, but you can figure this out. We were eating a lot of pasta, 3 ounces on most days, with a vegetable. Sometimes just a boiled vegetable, sometimes just boiled with the pasta in the same pot, and then dressed with extra virgin olive oil, which you were allowed 2 teaspoons in the morning, 2 teaspoons at lunch, and which is the main meal on this diet, and 2 teaspoons to do with it what you want. I used to cheat a little bit because if I was making a huge pot of soup, of vegetable soup, all allowed, I would start it out with let's say 1/4 cup of olive oil. But that was going to be for like 12 servings. So, in fact, in the end, it wasn't very much oil, but it really gave the soup the little oomph it needed. So, vegetables with 3 ounces of pasta, or sauce with 3 ounces of pasta. But a couple of days a week, we would eat pasta with beans. So I'm really craving beans lately. I go through on this keto diet where I'm not allowed carbohydrates. I go through phases of cravings. Last week, I had to have an egg roll. I think I said that even on the air, that I was craving an egg roll. I finally ordered an egg roll, and after the egg roll, I didn't really want to eat too much more, but I did eat a little bit more, and it didn't hurt my weight loss at all. Anyway, back to, with beans, you're allowed 3/4 of a cup of beans for a serving, which is a nice serving, by the way, with 2 ounces of pasta. So you can have pasta and beans. You can have you can have pasta and chickpeas, which I love. And I even developed a little, since you're supposed to have your olive oil on this diet raw out of the bottle, meaning uncooked, unheated, so that it has its utmost antioxidants, and I have to add flavor. So I open a can of chickpeas, pour it into a pot with all the liquid in the can, add some chopped garlic and chopped rosemary or crumbled dried rosemary, and simmer it for a few minutes, and then crush up some of the chickpeas with my potato masher or the back of a spoon if they're tender, and add pasta, like a short tubular pasta, for instance, like pennette would be good. In any case, whatever you have, even broken spaghetti. So that was a wonderful diet to be on, and we lost the same 1.5 pounds a week that I'm losing now. So I keep thinking maybe I should go back to that. On the other hand, I'm enjoying. Here's a tenet of the keto diet: use your vegetables as a vehicle for fat. So one of our favorite, I would say my favorite recipe of 2020, and I have some in the fridge right now, is something called krauti with pancetta, which is sort of fake sauerkraut. It's cabbage braised with a little bit of onion, pancetta, and you add apple cider vinegar, or you could use other vinegar. You add apple cider vinegar and let it simmer for 40 minutes, and it's really good. And we eat it with a lot of different things. But I keep having to make more and more because we do love it. And spinach is a great vehicle. You can eat creamed spinach on the keto diet. Can't have that on any other diet, I know. The other day, I didn't so much saute some zucchini as I sort of stewed it with whole cloves of garlic in olive oil. I know in the restaurants they would call that confit. Confit of zucchini and garlic. Boy, was that good. It was so good that, and we didn't even eat all the oil, by the way. I mean, I just served the zucchini without the significant amount of oil I left back. But it really changed the zucchini. It was so good, Bob actually requested it again. He doesn't usually request things so much. Well, I shouldn't say that because he could eat the same thing every day and not care. But I can't. But I'm going to make that again. And here's another one. Grated zucchini. I learned this from Julia Child 50 years ago. More than 50 years ago. Grated zucchini, and you salt it. We eat a lot of zucchini, mainly because I buy such wonderfully sweet zucchini at my butcher shop. Anyway, I grate the zucchini on the coarse side of the box grater. For each zucchini, I use about a half teaspoon of salt. I put it in layers. I grate the first zucchini into my colander, sprinkle it with salt, second zucchini, salt, third zucchini, salt, toss it all together, put it over a bowl and let it drain for at least a half an hour, and you'll see quite a lot of liquid will accumulate in the bowl, but even more when you squeeze out the grated zucchini over your drip bowl, your liquid bowl, and you squeeze it all out until it's dry, and it'll clump together. And then I saute a small shallot in. Really, you only need a tablespoon of butter, even for 3 zucchini. But I'm generous with this. One day I used 2 tablespoons of butter, and truthfully, it was too much. I know you can't have too much butter, but in that case, it just seemed too much. So I saute a small shallot in a tablespoon of butter, and then I toss in the zucchini. Now, it's all bunched together, so you need to jiggle it. I use a fork for this. I have wooden forks. I use my wooden fork for this. but you got to sort of jiggle it into the pan so that it spreads out and isn't all clumped up. And then saute it. You really don't need more than 5 minutes over medium-high heat. There's going to be no liquid to speak of in the pan. The zucchini will not only not get mushy, but it'll be firm and sweet. I really like zucchini done this way. And if you do zucchini this way, and by the way, on most diets you can tolerate a tablespoon of butter. So this is a good vegetable dish for any diet. And that's all you need. But if you want to make it a half a tablespoon of butter in a no-stick pan, you can do that. But you need a little bit of, or oil. You can use olive oil. And that's delicious too. And then you can do it on any diet. And then you can make a bed of this in a baking dish, and with the back of a big spoon, make some indentations in the zucchini, and then break an egg into each indentation and stick it in the oven. If you want to do it on top of the stove, you can. You can do this all in a skillet, but you have to have a cover for the skillet because the eggs will need to be covered to cook. Or in the oven, you don't need a cover. You can just bake them in there. I mean, on the keto diet, you see, this is the reason I'm on it. I could actually put cheese on top of that, and it would still be on the diet. But as I say, my appetite is much less than it was, and so, I don't know, that could end up being too rich. I did it recently, but it could be too rich now.
It's interesting you say that because my appetite now, and I noticed it the other day, just because I've been doing this for so long, really has decreased, where if I make something, more than likely I'll only eat half of it. I'll only eat half of it. Yeah.
So that's a good thing, for us. On the other hand, one of my great enjoyments in life is eating.
Yeah.
So, you got to balance this. I had an egg roll the other day. But I have not succumbed to apple pie or other big-time sweets that I've been craving here and there. But today, I think, is sort of a pizza day. I think I'll just think about pizza today.
It's funny.
I have made things with the pizza flavor. So, for instance, I did make the other day a zucchini parmigiana, where I grilled the zucchini. Of course, it's brushed with oil, so it's not oil-free, and layered it in a pan with sauce and mozzarella and some grated Parmesan cheese. And I happened to have some basil in the house, so I put some basil leaves in the layers, and that was it. And topped with cheese and sauce, it got your pizza. Your pizza flavors. If you like oregano in your pizza, use oregano instead of basil.
It's simple. And the last thing I learned is that I now have at least a 600-calorie breakfast, and I lower the other ones because I just feel better going into the day.
Yeah. People who don't eat breakfast don't know what they're missing.
Yeah.
And there's so many things you can eat for breakfast, even on a diet. Bob is in the next room right now. He's up early today, eating cereal, breakfast cereal, a high fiber, low sugar breakfast cereal, but breakfast cereal with a banana. Now, for me, 25 grams of carbs in a banana is like all I want for the whole day. But he's been eating this all along, and then he ketos the rest of the day, and he's losing a little more slowly than I am, but he's still losing over a pound a week.
That's all it takes over the course of time.
So he's happy on this diet. We do eat some fruit. We eat strawberries and watermelon, and cantaloupe. And unbelievably, I've been getting extraordinary cantaloupes from Guatemala. If you see them in your market, give them a try. And the watermelon, I don't know. It's not like summer watermelon, but it's cold and slightly sweet.
Yeah, no, it's
sad and very, very low calorie. I don't know why watermelon got a bad reputation as a not diet food, but it's a perfectly good fruit on a low calorie diet or any diet.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so diet ho, everybody it's January.
There's nothing better to do than January.
Well, we used to say that the average American gained an average of 7 pounds over the holidays. And I wonder if that has changed during COVID, since we were all home, or we should have been home for the holidays. Maybe we ate more.
I'm sure the experts will tell us.
I know. Give it another week.
Yeah. Okay, Arthur.
All right. Take care. Everybody
Take care.
have a happy, healthy New Year.
You too. Take care. Arthur Schwartz, the Food Maven, here on Robin Hood Radio. Underwriting support for Arthur Schwartz, the Food Maven, John Andrews Restaurant on the Hillsdale Road in South Egremont, 413-528-3467, and on the web, jarestaurant.com. Rubiners Cheesemongers and Grocers on Main Street in Great Barrington, 413-528-0488, rubiners.com. Hillsdale Home Chef, more information, 518-325-7000, hgshomechef.com.